Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we are continuing the Billboard tier list series where we rank the music publication's top K-pop songs of a given year from F to S. Today we're moving on to 2020. That's right, the year of COVID. This is a time we'd much rather forget, but amidst a global pandemic, the industry powered through and delivered some bangers, which we'll get to in just one second. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Okay, kicking us off at number 20, we have Treasure. So as we all know, YG tracks tend to follow a very specific template, and Treasure's sophomore single was no different. Even listening back today, you can almost predict its every move. We have a rock-tinged verse 1 with a vaguely agreeable but faceless melody, and a pre-chorus that builds to a beat drop that you can see coming from a mile away. After that, we swerve into an ill-advised halftime breakdown in the second verse, and conclude with a boisterous party chorus. That's the YG formula. Now, it's usually a toss-up to determine whether or not we get a good beat drop, and here the result was not favorable. It comes off as too forceful and aggressive to match the sort of tender love they're trying to express. I would much prefer Boy to this, even though that chorus was arguably more abrasive, it at least had some flavor. I Love You will go in the C tier. Next up, Bibi, I'm Good at Goodbyes. Can't say I'm too acquainted with her work, considering I'm not really an R&B enthusiast. Though I will say Bibi gives quite a good performance on the single. She has an expressive voice that seems uniquely fitted for the genre, and she also showcases her songwriting capabilities through the evocative and poignant lyricism. That's the most you're gonna get out of me. Songs of this style are just a bit too moody and down-tempo for my liking. I will give this a C and move on. Alright, Jin Hyuk, Bedlam. That's an obscure word to use as a song title, if I've ever seen one. I had never heard this song prior to making this video, so I didn't know what to expect. And after listening to it a few times, despite not being able to recall a single line, all I can say is that Bedlam is an appropriate name. This is a plonky trap pop track which sees the former Uptension member perform in a shouty register from start to finish, yet there's no rhyme or reason behind any of the bluster. We're given no room to breathe as he flits from one subpar hook to another. The song is supposed to be like bouncy and jovial, but I was just sitting completely still while listening to it, like dead inside. I didn't think I'd ever have to do this, but I'm gonna put this in the F tier. You know, songs like NCT's Hot Sauce or Lisa's Money from the last video, those irk me a lot more, but they still landed in the E tier on account of memorability. This truly does nothing for me. It's tasteless at best and obnoxious at worst. I don't even... Okay, that was a disaster. Thankfully, this next cut is brilliant. April, La La Li La La. If Bedlam did everything wrong, this song is the exact opposite. It's a sleek and elegant piece of dance pop. The WJSN vibes are very strong, what with the immense electronic soundscape and cosmic imagery. The melody is sublime, vocals are great. I think they could have dialed up the energy in the verses a bit more, but this is still a fantastic track and it feels timeless, honestly. I'd give this an A, for sure. A for April. Number 16, TXT, Can't You See Me? Coming off triumphs like Crown and Runaway, this track had some big shoes to fill. Unfortunately, the third and final entry in their Dream Chapter trilogy was also the weakest, but that is only relative to their quality discography. Though it retains a somewhat cheerful melody, this era is where their sound took a darker turn, and that angst has hung over them ever since. It sports a surprisingly deep bag of hooks, though the song feels kind of lightweight and insubstantial, which is due in part to the very airy vocal processing. Personally, I think Blue Hour would have been a much better choice for 2020. As for Can't You See Me, the answer is yes. C. Okay, next up we have the one and only Wannabe by ITZY. I remember when it came out, it was a big deal, and it still is a big deal. An organic and logical extension from their debut era Club Ready Oeuvre, the song captures ITZY at their most anthemic, bold, and confident. It's an empowering self-expression that doesn't feel inauthentic or overblown. A bona fide classic that deserves all the praise and accolades it has received. Really, really great track. A tier. Number 14 is Bora Bipam. Boy, Sunmi was on a tear from like 2018 to 2020, largely thanks to her singles-driven approach, which allowed her to excel with laser focus in churning out these quality records, infrequent as they may have been. I actually remember not liking this all that much when I first heard it. Something about the phrasing in the pre-chorus really put me off. Bora Bipam. I like it. But in the grand scheme of things, the song succeeds in forging this deeply alluring atmosphere with the polished retro production, the fluty intro, the brooding synth flourishes, and of course the rhythm guitar just takes it to the next level. Complete with a breezy hook, this remains one of the finest encapsulations of Sunmi's artistry. A tier. Next, Lucy Jogging, a whimsical little tune from the quartet. It's perfectly fine. This was very early on in their career where they were still coming into their own. I don't think it really showcases what the band is capable of at their creative peak, but it helped to establish their identity nonetheless. The violin is quite underutilized on this track, and accordingly, I think Snooze would have been a better choice for this list. I will give Jogging a C. Number 12, Taemin Criminal. This is actually pretty close to where I'd rank the song personally. I'd have it in the top 10, but this is a fantastic choice regardless. It's one of the best examples of synth pop with a dark and ominous edge, and Taemin wears this style like a glove. His showmanship is undeniable, as if you needed me to tell you that. His seductive voice is the perfect conduit for the simple but incredibly effective and hypnotic melody. Magnetic performance aside, Criminal is just a really well-constructed song. It's cohesive and fully formed, though not quite seamless, as the slowdown in the second verse does throw a spanner in the works, but I can live with it. Also, I totally neglected to include this in my most beautiful final choruses video, because this is one for the record books. Taemin holds absolutely nothing back. He rips the song apart. The vocal arrangement is just magnificent. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend you give it a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves an S tier track, which, spoiler, is the first of many to come. SF9, who were responsible for my favorite title track of January, found themselves a spot on this countdown with Good Guy. For the longest time, I always knew this as the song that had a very similar melody to Twice's Feel Special in the first verse. If you know, you know. But Good Guy is a fine tune in its own right. It is of the electro house persuasion, which I'm obviously a fan of. I think a killer hook was needed to really elevate the material. As of now, it's a solid and serviceable B. Alright, number 10, Stray Kids Backdoor, a groovy adventure featuring what Billboard insistently calls the funky bass line that has also been injected with some uproarious EDM elements, and this is a Stray Kids production through and through. I'm actually not crazy about this track, but I'd look back on this quite fondly because this came at a time where the group's posturing had more personality, shall we say. It hadn't worn out its welcome and didn't feel grating. It feels more controlled, if that makes sense. I'll give this a B. B for Backdoor. Weekly's debut Tag Me is up next. This is an exuberant teenage rock pop anthem. There's no shortage of these among 4th gen girl groups, but they offer a convincing and frankly charming take on it. You can really feel the rookie energy radiating off the screen. The song is unbelievably chirpy in certain areas. Once you get past the cloying chant that opens the track, there's also the meow 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 in the chorus. The official lyric says da 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 da, but no, it's clearly meow 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 meow. So yeah, loads of saccharine elements in the song. Some work well, some not as much, but overall an enjoyable retread. This one's a B. Okay, number 8, BTS Black Swan. I talked about this song like a year ago when I ranked every BTS title track from worst to best, and this placed rather low, which would probably upset some people. I mean, I get why it's gushed about as much as it is. It's really easy to get lost in the beauty of the traditional instrumentation, but once you delve deeper into the technical aspects, the production really is not all that it's cracked up to be. And I cited the hi-hats and auto-tune as sources of detriment. Now, in spite of that, Black Swan is still kind of a bop. I like it, but I also do not believe that this is the peak of their discography in any way. So, C. Alright, number 7, Twice, I Can't Stop Me. S tier, you already know. No explanation needed. You can maybe make a case for it being an A, but no lower than that. After that, we have Woodz Bump Bump, a cut that is emblematic of his distinctive pop-punk style. The songwriting is sticky enough and the verses bound along with rollicking energy, though I can't say I'm too appreciative of the decision to withdraw all of that propulsive percussion in the chorus. As a result, the track is not nearly as impactful as other efforts he would go on to release. I'll let it squeak by with a B. B for Bump. Weki Meki, cool. I totally missed this one at the time. This comeback saw the girls return to their debut era teen crush aesthetic reimagined with electro house pomp. I am a bit conflicted because I really admire the production, but I'm less pleased with the songwriting, especially in the chorus. I just don't get why we always have to try and prelude the vocal elements with a tacky chant. If it's any consolation, the girls do sell this refrain with plenty of attitude. So does Cool live up to its name? In terms of beat and delivery, yes. Hooks, less so. In the B tier, this will go. Number 4 is GFRIEND's Margot. Like La La Li La La, this was a synthy swan song from a 6-member girl group which capitalized on 2020's omnipresent retro trend, and in doing so unintentionally resulted in one of the best farewell singles ever. I've loved this song since day one, and it felt like a dream revisiting it, seeing all 6 of them in the same frame. Sunmi with short hair, blonde Eunha, those were good times. But look, spotless production, perfect melody, fantastic vocals, S-tier track, easy. After that we have 17 Left and Right. I remember back then I enjoyed this a bit, but I was a wee lad at the time. Revisiting this with a more critical mindset, I can't help but feel that 17's upbeat and unflagging prowess has been reduced to mere novelty due to the reliance on a TikTok-ready catchphrase chorus, a trope that is of course more pervasive today than ever before. Even so, Left and Right has its moments. Obviously, I like the speed ramping in the pre-chorus, and some of the more vocal-heavy parts are nice, but once again, the repetitive nature and downright silliness of the hook gives me pause. Though I'm feeling quite charitable, so I'll give this a B. Number 2, Apink Dum Da Dum. Boy, am I glad to see this song placed so high. Ever since I heard this back in the day, I've wanted to talk about it. Today, I finally have the chance. It's been featured a few times on the channel, but I've yet to lay out my thoughts in detail. But just to preface, this is my song of the year for 2020, and one of my all-time favorites as well. I think it's a near flawless track. We can begin by talking about that mesmerizing synth loop that utterly captivated and enraptured me on first listen. Something about that instrumental is just like the sweetest forbidden fruit. And of course, to pair, we have a divine melody that oozes a sense of melancholic longing. It all comes together beautifully with Apink's stately and mature performance at the forefront, bringing 9 years of experience and an unparalleled level of sophistication along with it. Dum Da Dum is possibly the magnum opus of their late career resurgence, and forever an S-tier song in my heart. Number 1, it's EVERGLOW's La Di Da. I cannot commend Billboard enough for giving this song the top spot. It's an absolutely amazing track, and probably the pinnacle of the 80s inspired girl group craze of the 2020s. It's funny how the songs that I adore the most on this list I actually don't have too much to say about. I guess they can speak for themselves, but yeah, a striking, sensational, show-stopping, splendid, stunning, superb, sledgehammer, synthwave spectacle, busting out all the most effusive adjectives you can think of that begin with S, because this is an S-tier track, baby! Okay, we've reached the end. Take it in, ladies and gentlemen, especially those 5 S-tier tracks. If you can't tell by now, the S stands for synth. Really, really solid picks. For the most part, it's beginning to look a bit more consistent across the board. Although I think this list could have been even stronger had they chosen the better comeback that some of these groups made in 2020. So for Treasure, they should have gone with Boy. TXT, Blue Hour instead of Can't You See Me. Snooze for Lucy. Summer Breeze for SF9. And for 17, Home Run or even My would have made more sense. Anyways, that will do it for this tier list. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.